$135 billion. That number is bigger than the GDP of Hungary. It exceeds NASA's projected budget for the next 30 years. Combined, it would fund the entire US Marine Corps for a decade. And in 2026, Mark Zuckerberg committed every dollar of it to artificial intelligence. There's just one problem. The flagship AI model built to justify that number, internally codenamed Avocado, still isn't ready to launch. Meta's stock is down 31% from its all-time high. That's $600 billion in market cap, gone. Reality Labs, their metaverse division, has now lost $80 billion since 2021. And in a single week in March 2026, 2 jury verdicts, $375 million and $4.2 million in damages for harm to young users. This isn't a story about a company running out of money. It's a story about a company that has more money than almost anyone and still can't seem to get it right. To understand what's happening at Meta in 2026, you need to go back to January 2023. ChatGPT had just reached 100 million users in 60 days. No product in the history of consumer technology had ever scaled that fast. Zuckerberg watched it happen in real time, and he understood immediately what it meant. The social media era, the era that made him a billionaire, was starting to look dated, so he made 2 decisions. The first, cut deep. In 2023, Meta laid off 21,000 employees and called it the year of efficiency. The stock rebounded. Wall Street loved it. The second decision was the actual bet. Zuckerberg decided that Meta's path to winning AI wasn't to lock it behind a paywall like OpenAI, it was to give it away. Build Llama, an open source large language model. Release it free to researchers and developers, and use it to position Meta as the backbone of the AI ecosystem. On paper, the logic was airtight. Meta has 3.3 billion daily active users. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Threads, more data than almost any company alive. If anyone could win AI through raw data advantage, it was Meta. So they committed $72 billion in AI infrastructure in 2025. Then, in early 2026, the announcement that stopped Wall Street. $115 to $135 billion for AI infrastructure in a single year. The strategy made sense on paper, but there was a problem building quietly inside the company, something no one outside was supposed to see. Inside Meta's AI labs, the project had a name, Avocado. It was supposed to be the leap, the model that would make Llama finally competitive with GPT-5 and Google Gemini. Not just a research tool, a commercial weapon. It was planned for launch in March 2026. March came. No launch. Internal benchmarks had come back, and the numbers told a story that no press release would dare repeat. Avocado was lagging on coding, on reasoning, on multimodal capabilities, the ability to process images, audio, and text simultaneously, the 3 categories that define competitive AI in 2026. The launch moved to May. Then, no confirmed date at all. Here's the brutal arithmetic. Meta is spending $135 billion on AI infrastructure this year. Their best model, the one meant to justify every dollar of it, cannot outperform Google on a standard coding benchmark, and consider this parallel because it matters. In 2022, Zuckerberg promised a metaverse that would reach 1 billion people. It reached 0.03% of that. In 2026, he's promising superintelligence. His current flagship model can't outperform a competitor on a coding exam. The Llama models have received genuine praise from the developer community. That's real. But here's what the business press keeps glossing over. OpenAI hit $3.4 billion in annualized revenue. Anthropic secured $7.5 billion from Amazon alone. Meta's AI, they give it away. There's no monetization model attached to it. Not one that's been made public. That's not a product strategy. That's a hope. Now here's where the story becomes something different, something heavier, because in a single week, March 24th and 25th, 2026, 3 separate crises collided at once. Crisis 1, the legal hammer. A New Mexico jury awarded $375 million to the family of a teenager who died by suicide. Meta's algorithms were cited as a contributing factor. 24 hours later, a California jury, $4.2 million. Similar case, Reuters reported Meta's stock dropped 7% in a single session. Not because of the dollar amount, $379 million is a rounding error on a $135 billion capex budget. It dropped because of what the verdicts signal. Financial media started using a phrase, two words that no technology company ever wants to hear: big tobacco. To understand why that phrase sent a chill through Menlo Park, you have to understand the 1990s. For decades, tobacco giants claimed their products were a choice. Then the tobacco moment hit. Internal documents proved they knew the products were addictive, they knew they were targeting minors, and they lied about it. It resulted in a $200 billion settlement that fundamentally broke the industry's power. By 2026, the parallel is no longer a metaphor. The Facebook papers leaked years ago were Meta's internal tobacco memos. But these jury verdicts, they are the first time a court has ruled that Meta's algorithm isn't just a neutral tool, it's a defective product. If the algorithm is a product, Meta is liable for every injury it causes to 3 billion people. That's not a legal fee. That's an extinction event. Crisis. 2. The spending spiral. Look at Meta's infrastructure spending over 3 years. 2024, $38 billion. 2025, $72 billion. 2026, $115 to $135 billion. Each year, the number goes up. Each year, the returns remain elusive. The metaverse cost $80 billion and failed. AI is on track to cost more. Investors remember, and they are asking a question that Zuckerberg has never answered cleanly. At what point does ambition become liability? Crisis 3, Reality Labs, the zombie division. Reality Labs, the metaverse division, was never shut down. It is still bleeding. $19 billion in losses in 2025 alone. Cumulative losses now exceed $80 billion. Horizon Worlds has been quietly sidelined. The Ray-Ban smart glasses are the one bright spot, but they are not, by any financial metric, a business yet. And still, every quarter, Zuckerberg defends it publicly. Within a single week, in March 2026, a $375 million verdict, a delayed AI flagship, a stock in freefall, and a metaverse division still burning through $19 billion a year that no one can figure out how to kill. That's not a crisis, that's a pattern. In 2022, Zuckerberg had an exit ramp from the metaverse. He didn't take it, and it cost him $80 billion to learn that lesson. In 2026, the question is the same, and the stakes are higher. Can he pivot away from AI, or is he structurally trapped? Option A, double down. Spend the $135 billion. Keep building Avocado. Bet that scaling compute will eventually close the performance gap with OpenAI and Google. The risk, this is exactly the logic that drove Reality Labs into the ground. More capital does not automatically produce better outcomes, and the competition isn't standing still. Option B, retreat to the core. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. These platforms generate real, substantial, profitable advertising revenue. The core business works. Redirect capital there. Monetize the AI tools that already exist instead of chasing a frontier model. The risk, retreat is visible. Markets punish it. And Zuckerberg's identity, his public narrative, is built on being the man who sees further than everyone else. Option C, acquire the gap. Buy what you can't build fast enough. There are mid-tier AI companies with genuine model performance advantages that Meta could absorb. The risk, regulators are watching. The FTC's recent posture on big tech acquisitions makes a transformative AI deal politically treacherous. Here's what history tells us about Mark Zuckerberg. He is not a man who retreats publicly. He is a man who reframes failure as a longer arc of inevitable success, which means the most likely outcome isn't a pivot, it's a doubling down with better messaging. Let's be precise about what this story actually is and what it isn't. Meta is not dying. This is not a death watch. The The company generated hundreds of billions in ad revenue last year. Its core platforms still dominate global attention. Zuckerberg is not running out of time or money. But there is a specific and dangerous pattern visible in this case file. A transformative technology bet made without a clear monetization model. A flagship product that underperforms its promise at launch, a parallel division continuing to hemorrhage capital with no exit plan, and a leader who has publicly staked his identity to the outcome. That pattern cost Meta $80 billion the first time. The question for 2026 is whether the same man making structurally identical decisions arrives at a different destination, simply because the technology has changed. History suggests the technology is different. The architecture of the mistake is not. Avocado is still delayed. Reality Labs is still bleeding. The verdicts are still coming. And somewhere inside Meta's infrastructure, servers the size of small cities, burning power equivalent to entire towns, the math is quietly, relentlessly being done. Whether the answer it produces is victory or collapse depends entirely on whether Mark Zuckerberg has finally learned to read it.